When it comes to gaming, I've never seen a company with as much potential as Volition make so many mistakes and still get second chances. Yet despite all of the opportunities, they never seem to learn from their missteps. Today, I actually wanted to share the story of how Volition went from a studio full of promise to a company whose own fans celebrated when it was shut down. Now, if you're a fan of Grand Theft Auto, you probably heard of Saints Row series. Or maybe not, because Volition, well, the studio behind it, it's basically closed completely down now. It's a sad ending for a company that once had a potential to even rival Rockstar Games. Now, back in 2008, Rockstar releases Grand Theft Auto 4, my favorite game of all time. I actually got plenty of videos about that, so do check it out on my channel. Now, while the game was impressive indeed, many players felt it was too serious compared to the wild, over-the-top fun of San Andreas. Now, this left a gap in the market and a demand for a GTA-style game that didn't take itself way too seriously. And that's where Saints Row 2 stepped in. It was the perfect alternative. Goofy, chaotic, and unapologetically fun. You could throw people off the bridges, spray pedestrians with garbage, and even earn respects by causing ridiculous mayhem. The characters were memorable, and the customization options were endless, and the world felt alive in its own quirky way. Now, at the time, there was even a rivalry between Grand Theft Auto 4 fans and Saints Row 2 fans. It wasn't just a competition, Saints Row was genuinely stealing some of the Rockstar's audience. Now, Volition even poked fun at Grand Theft Auto 4 in their trailers, asking if they'd rather go bowling or wreak havoc with a truck full of shit, basically. The comparisons to Grand Theft Auto 4 were inevitable, and honestly, they weren't a bad thing. Rockstar was the kind of a king of open world games, and for a studio like Volition to even be in a conversation after just 2 games was a huge achievement. Now, let's be real though, there were no competing with Rockstar's sales. Grand Theft Auto 4 sold a staggering 17 million copies, while Saints Row 2 sold just over 3 million. But considering this was only Volition's second game in the series, that was still very impressive. Saints Row 2 had everything going for it: great gameplay, a loyal fanbase, and the momentum to grow even bigger. Fans hoped Volition would continue refining their formula, sticking to what made them unique. But instead of building on their success, things started to fall apart. Now, after Saints Row 2, something's changed. Volition, or perhaps their parent company, decided they wanted to stop being compared to GTA. They leaned harder into the goofy, over-the-top side of the series and abandoned the grounded, serious tone that fans loved in Saints Row 2. The result? Saints Row 3. While the game was indeed fun and I really liked it, it felt like a departure from everything that was made in the first 2 games, so that kind of special. Now, admittedly, I still preferred Saints Row 3 more, since it is a proper introduction for me into the series. But still, important characters were written off in lazy ways. One fan favorite was killed off screen, you know who I'm talking about, and the entire storyline from the previous games were abandoned. The humor in Saints Row 3 also felt forced. Instead of clever or dark comedy, much of it boiled down to juvenile jokes. Don't get me wrong, some of it was indeed entertaining and honestly even hilarious to the point. But the balance between the series storytelling and ridiculous antiques that made Saints Row 2 so good, well, unfortunately was completely gone. Despite its flaws, Saints Row 3 did indeed sold well, largely because of the goodwill from Saints Row 2. Many players, especially the newcomers, enjoyed it for what it was, a chaotic sandbox. But longtime fans started to feel like the series was losing its soul. Now, if Saints Row 3 was a warning sign, Saints Row 4 was the breaking point. By the time the series had gone completely off the rails, instead of being about gang wars and criminal empires, the game was about aliens, superpowers, and simulation of some sort. Sure, some people have fun with it, but it wasn't Saints Row anymore. It felt more like a parody of itself, and many fans were completely disappointed. Volition seems to be ignoring what their audience actually wanted. The game also suffered from a limited budget, leading to a loss of reused assets and filler content. While the superpowers were fun, they made traditional gameplay like driving or shooting feel completely pointless. And for a game with such a big concept, it all felt strangely low effort. Now, fast forward to 2022, it had been almost a decade since the last Saints Row game, and fans were eager for a reboot that would return to the series to its roots. With no new Grand Theft Auto game on the horizon at the time, Volition had another golden opportunity to fill the gap in the market. Unfortunately, they completely missed the mark. Saints Row Reboot was widely criticized for its bland characters, uninspired story, and cringeworthy dialogue. The new cast felt like caricature, and the writing often came across as trying too hard to be cool or maybe relatable. The gameplay itself wasn't terrible, it was functional, even fun at the times, but the lack of charm and personality made it hard to care. Fans had waited years for this, and the disappointment was palpable. To make matters worse, the PR around the game was a disaster. Volition's representatives got into arguments with fans online, further souring the community's perception of the game. The reboot's failure was the final nail in the coffin for Volition. After years of declining quality and poor decisions, the studio was shut down in 2023. It was a sad but unsurprising end for a company that once had the potential to rival Rockstar Games. Looking back, it's frustrating to see how Volition squandered their chances. They had a winning formula with Saints Row 2, but instead of building on it, they kept on trying to reinvent themselves. And while experimentation isn't inherently bad, they lost the sight of what made their games special in the first place. In the end, Saints Row became a cautionary tale, a reminder that even with talent, success, and a loyal fanbase, a company can still fail if they stop listening to their audience. Thank you so much for watching, like and subscribe, see you guys all, and have a wonderful day.